something if you need to.
And good evening, and welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for January 11th, 2016. And I call the meeting to order at 6:21. Okay. We have a joint meeting at 6:15. We're a little bit late, but not too bad. With the Board of Registrars for an executive session to discuss litigation strategy, Timothy Toomey versus Barbara R. Demento, Board of Registrars, and others, and the Board of Selectmen, Superior Court Civil Action Docket Number 1677C, Victor 00001. Okay. The chairman calls for a motion to open the joint meeting with the Board of Registrars by a roll call vote.
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor by roll call, all signify by saying aye.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
I, Robert Snow.
Aye, Robert Murray.
I, Dave Peterson.
Okay. Susan Hazen calls for a motion to open the joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen by a roll call vote.
So I'm calling for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing strategy.
No.
To open, we're opening a joint
Joint meeting.
meeting, open session.
Tell me again.
Okay.
We have to open an open session first.
Calls for a motion to open the joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen by a roll call vote.
So I'm making a motion
To open a joint meeting.
to open a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen by a roll call vote.
Yes.
So do I have that motion? Whenever you're ready.
Second.
I need someone to make the motion. Millie?
Yeah, yes.
And Barbara?
I will
Yes.
second it.
Very good. And by roll call vote, I, Susan Hazen,
I, Mildred Dillon.
and Barbara.
Barbara Demento.
So any opposed? I guess we're all.
So we are now in a joint session. The chairman calls for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing strategies with respect to litigation on the Timothy Toomey versus Barbara R. Demento Board of Registrars and others in the Board of Selectmen Superior Court Civil Action Docket case, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the town, and to return to open session. So I need a member of the board. Excuse me.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor by roll call vote.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
I, Robert Snow.
Aye, Robert Murray.
I, Dave Peterson.
Motion carried. We are in executive session.
And I would call for a motion for the Board of Registrars to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing strategies with respect to litigation on the Timothy Toomey versus Barbara R. Demento Board of Registrars et al. And Board of Selectmen Superior Court Civil Action Docket 1677CV0001 case, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the town, and to not return to open session. Do I have that motion?
I would make that motion.
And do I have a second?
I will second it.
And can we approve by roll call vote? I, Susan Hazen.
I, Mildred Dillon.
I, Barbara Demento.
Okay. So both boards then convene in executive session. So. Open session at the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting of January 11th, 2016. The time being 7:09. Okay. Citizens' query tonight will be from 7:10 to 7:20. Actually, it should be 7:10 to 7:15. So we'll correct that. Okay, our first executive, general business. We've got 5 minutes to our next appointment. Is a letter from Mary Harder requesting a street light on School Street. Now, I think we might have another issue with this, Deb,
What issue, Mr. Chairman?
with the street light request, other than I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay, you would need to make that statement and state what the issue is that you would be recusing yourself from.
Right, and I will not participate in this particular part of general business because I am a member of the Municipal Light Board.
And I would have to do the same to recuse myself because I'm also a member of the Municipal Light
Okay.
Board.
So, Mr.
So now
Chairman, we can table that to the next meeting?
we'll have to
Have
because
to.
we no longer have a quorum.
We'll let Ms. Hardy know.
Yes, just let her know that because Joe has been out sick, that we do have an issue there. Okay, so we can go to new business, and it's, let's see here. This stuff. Okay, new business number 1 is a stable license application from Richard Sheehan of 66 Wilson Pond Lane. Following application has been submitted and all is in order with all taxes, light, and water bills paid. Richard Sheehan, 5 Horses, 66 Wilson Pond Lane.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of issuing the license signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And that was new business number 2. Discuss filing open meeting law complaint for December 21st, 2015. Email from Timothy Toomey. Water Board Vice Chairman Timothy Toomey violated the open meeting law on December 21st, 2015 when he sent an email to Debbie Egan expressing his opinions and copying Water Commissioners John Manning and Stuart L. Dalzell Sr. on the email message. Chairman Murray will call for a motion to authorize him to file an open meeting law complaint with the Attorney General's office.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So, right at the bottom line, Deb, where it says sign.
Yes, please.
Hey, Tom.
Okay, citizen, what are we saying? 7:10, citizen's query?
Yes, can you give a status update on the recall election for February 2nd? Is it going to go ahead, not go ahead? Where are we?
We have no idea.
So it's pending the,
It's pending the court case.
okay.
Okay, so the time being 7:15. We have a appointment with the Zoning Board of Appeals, Chairman Don Thurston, to discuss proposed Marion Way comprehensive permit application submitted to Mass Housing by Thomas Frangos, and comments to Mass Housing. And it's a discussion on town department comments on proposed Marion Way comprehensive permit application and Board of Selectmen's response to Mass Housing on this proposed project. Do you know if Don's coming? He is coming? Oh, yeah, he's next door. I forgot he was next door.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
Hi.
And we
Don.
Hi.
opened the appointment for you.
Mr. Chairman, we have a fairly thick packet on this appointment. Mr. Thurston is here this evening to provide the ZBA's perspective, as they spent several years, a few years on this matter. 5 years, on this very similar application that's, will be filed very soon by Thomas Frangos.
Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals Chairman Don Thurston is, I think I already read that, Don, so. And that's the application we need to submit to Mass Housing. So have you got anything you want to add to what we've been looking at here?
I have here one, two, three, four.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
I'll start off by reading the first page of this document that I've given you, the first couple of pages, which explains where we've been and whatnot, and the rest of it is the decision that we rendered on Marion Way back in April. In case you haven't seen the decision, just to give you a chance to see it. The Board of Selectmen, Town of Rowley. The Zoning Board of Appeals is pleased to provide the Board of Selectmen the following conclusions based on its review of the application to Massachusetts Housing Finance Agency dated December 2015. While not exhaustive, we reviewed touches upon some of the most important aspects of this application's deficiencies. However, before we address some of the key factors of this application, which we believe mitigate the need for further consideration at this time, we feel it is important to refresh the Board of Selectmen's understanding surrounding the recent history of the proposed project. In May of 2010, the ZBA was presented with an application for the same project that was essentially identical to the one before you in the Mass Housing Now. From then until April 15th, 2015, the board, and with assistance from expert legal counsel and supported by MFHA grant funds, using outside experts in a number of engineering fields and gathering input and feedback from our sister town boards, worked at identifying a positive outcome that would allow the ZBA to endorse the project. Amid countless modifications and amendments of site design, including project street access locations, individual lot layouts, and numerous changes to conditions surrounding wetland protections noted by the Raleigh Conservation Commission, including one 11-month period which represented nothing but continuances with no material submitted to the board, effectively signaling to the board that the element of urgency to begin the project was virtually non-existent. The board did finally conclude in April of 2015 that the proposal as then constituted did not meet the needs of the town of Raleigh, and given all the waiver requests, apparent safety issues, and overall density, by unanimous vote of those serving on the case, the board denied the application and prepared a written decision outlining its reasons, findings, and conclusion. A copy of said denial is attached for your reference. The Board of Selectmen reaches out to the town boards after being contacted by the MHFA requesting feedback on an application by the same applicant for it is virtually the exact copy of the same project the ZBA denied in April 2015. The ZBA wants to note that any ZBA decision, including those for comprehensive permits, is outlined in Mass 760 CMR 56, is subject to appeal. The applicant was well in his rights, therefore, to appeal the prior decision if he thought there were grave errors in judgment, analysis, and review by the ZBA, and it erred in its overall interpretation of suitability of the project. No such appeal occurred. It seems only reasonable to conclude that the applicant did not disagree with the substantial manner that the project as previously proposed was inappropriate. It is therefore fair to assume that any new proposal would in some way, shape, or form differ substantially from any prior project proposal. And as previously stated, the new project is, in the eyes of the ZBA, at least 98% identical to the one already denied. There appears to be only one stated change in the application of December 15th, which would seem to be relevant, which is that the project now is said to sit on 6.6 acres as opposed to 4.5 acres. However, based on the ZBA comparison of site plan drawings submitted this time against those with the prior case, it is at best obtained by including an additional 50-foot wetland buffer to the south of the total property, which does not in any way change the actual lots, plan layout, or buildings therein. In fact, it is not clear to the ZBA if in fact this interpretation is correct, since there are no distinguishing markings on any of the plans which would indicate where these extra 2.1 acres are located. The site plan as submitted shows the exact same structural outlines, footprints from the prior case. However, included in the packet are elevation drawings of homes which clearly now include garages, and a third bedroom over said garage. This was a total absent component in the early application. Which is it, garages or not? The Eastern Bank financing letter of interest indicates that the project will be funded at the rate of 4 units. Presumably they mean 2 duplex structures at a time. As attractive as the concept of adding affordable housing stock to the town is, if we assume that the ratio of AHS to the built units, it remains the same. That means there will be 1 affordable unit for every phase of this project. If the project becomes stalled or otherwise derailed due to economic conditions not currently anticipated, the town may never actually see a completed project or all the AHS. That is the heart of this comprehensive permit application. In summary, given the virtual duplication and project scope of this submitted application to the previous one which was denied after 5 years vetting process, the absence of an appeal and said denial which might have suggested grounds for discussion of compromise in an authorized forum, with the town of Raleigh being asked to wastefully devote time and municipal resources to consider a plan already found unacceptable, the only conclusion is that there is no reason for the ZBA to reach any other finding than it has already identified in the current standing decision.
Thank you.
We spent 5 years of the town's money and resources on this project, and it was a total headache. And I urge the Board of Selectmen to notify Mass Housing that the town of Raleigh does not endorse this project.
Okay, so that's the zoning board of appeals decision, right?
Yes.
Have you taken a vote on that yet? Have you had a meeting and taken a voting on that yet?
No, we have not.
Okay. we
But I
probably
have,
don't-
I have.
No, I think that Mr. Thurston is speaking on behalf of the ZBA based
Right.
on their prior decision, so that
Yeah.
this memo is fine if the board wishes to include it in a cover memo with all the comments from all the department heads that are in the
Okay, they're
package.
still in the package.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to say you did a hell of a job on that decision. Really well reasoned and well thought out. I mean, I read it and you really could feel your sense of
I mean, this-
frustration with the
this-
process.
You know, they had the right to appeal our decision,
Mhm.
and they chose not to do that.
Right.
And I feel that we've had other cases where we have denied it and it was appealed. And Mass Housing got us together and we negotiated a settlement. And that was primarily West Sox pasture. They originally wanted 90 houses in there, West Sox pasture. And we told them we wanted the road looped. And they came back with us and said, okay, we'll loop the road, but now we want 104 houses. And we finally denied the application. And we settled it. There was 2 members on the zoning board, town council, and they got a new developer and a new attorney, and we sat down and we came up with what is now West Sox pasture. We have 40 houses in there. 10 of them are affordable, and we have the we saved some commercial land because it was in the commercial district. And I thought that was a win-win for the town. This project here has 10 buildings, 2 units in each building, and each building is on roughly less than 20,000 square feet. That's less than what the original town bylaw for the central district was for a single-family home. And they want to put 2 families on this amount of land. And they came to us and they said, well, you gave a duplex for West Ox pasture. And we said, yes, we did. But each duplex is on 2 lots. Each family there has at least 20,000 square feet of land, where they wanted, with this project, they want to go 20. And there's no open space. They claim they're giving us, on this one here, some more open space. That's where the 2.1 acres additional is. But that's into the wetlands. So, and we looked at all the issues, and we finally came to the conclusion that this was not a good project, and we denied it. And when we got your notification that about it coming up again, Tom and I sat down, we went through the whole packet, and we concluded that there's really no change, substantially.
Okay.
And
Just a question.
I'd like to have them speak if they'd like, they have anything they'd like to add.
We just feel strongly that there's really no point in the town spending any more time on the proposal, given the way it's been represented. There's not enough difference to consider thinking about the project being done. And frankly, I'm personally flabbergasted that they have gone to Mass Housing and asked Mass Housing to come to you and consider this as a project when it's 95%, as Don said, of what we looked at wouldn't work. The board was willing and discussed in our 5-year examination of the project as proposed options for parceling the land differently and even moving away from the whole affordable housing concept and simply building it as standard housing. And the applicant just did not want to move from it. And if they had come back with a project design now that said, okay, we've rethought it, because there are other agendas associated with the application that they expressed to the board insofar as using the principal road here as access to additional property to which the party, the seller in the applicant of the property, the Tompkins Trust, has that is likely to develop at some point in the future, and we understand that. But there's no effort on their part to change any component of this application, and we're struck. We're amazed that there was no change in the application. It's like getting an F on the paper, and the teacher saying, I'll tell you what, I'll give you another shot. And you just take the paper home, and you erase the F, and you bring it back in, and you hand it back in again, thinking you're going to get a different result.
Yeah, you think they would have either appealed or made some kind of significant change,
At least.
not appeal and then refile the same old plan.
Right. When we heard there was a new plan, we thought, okay, they actually listened to us. And when Don was able to get a copy of the plan, it was like, you gotta be kidding me. There are other discrepancies in terms of material information in the plan that's sloppily put together too.
I guess my question, Mr. Chairman, is to Don, is this a normal Of course, I mean, I'm not quite sure I understand how, under what authority, mass housing, if the applicant didn't appeal and this is sat, then mass housing has the
I-
authority to bring this back to the town?
I
Or
asked-
what is the, I'm not sure
I
what the
asked,
procedure
Well,
is moving forward on this.
The normal procedure would have been to appeal the ZBA's decision to the Housing Review Committee or Housing Appeals Committee. So I don't think going back to mass housing is the normal procedure, but
Well, I mean, where do we
but
get
mass
this?
housing is the entity that reviews the application initially before
Where
it
did-
goes
where
to
did-
the
I guess
ZBA.
my question is, where did this, how did we come up with from the state? Did this come from the developer, or did this come from the state?
No, it came from the state. What he did was, the previous developer sold the property.
Right, yeah. I
And
understand
the
that.
new developer that's there is applied to the housing authority, the state housing authority, for a 40B. So they're submitting exactly the same package back to the town, or very close to the same package, to try to
It's
get
the
it to
same
pass again.
developer.
It's the same developer,
Same
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
it's the same developer.
There is a purchase and sale agreement that we had town council review today, and Judy Pickett's been having numerous conversations with Mr.
Oh,
Thursday.
okay.
It is, and they can file again. The Code of Regulations governing these 40Bs are very broad,
Right.
and they allow for this, so this can be filed again.
Mr. Chairman,
But,
I'm sorry.
no, good.
I'd like to know, but Robert Kluel, member of the ZBA, under normal zoning processes, under 40A, there is a prohibition against anyone who's denied from bringing back your application for a 2-year period. That's Chapter 40A of the general laws. Under Chapter 40B, for whatever reason, the legislature did not see fit to include a similar prohibition, for whatever reason. Perhaps they felt that, you know, a project that's undergone such scrutiny and is of such scope that surely no one would just bring it back again if it's denied. But for whatever reason, a similar automatic prohibition is not there under 40B. Which may be to Mr. Peterson's question about how can they do it. Well, they're not automatically prohibited from doing it. We're suggesting, I think, that common sense prohibit them from doing it, and that the selectmen suggest to the state that such a transparent
Right.
attempt to avoid the appeals process, which apparently they didn't feel they could win or didn't want to go through, or for whatever reason. They wanted to avoid the appeals process, fine. You're stuck with the failure to appeal. That's our opinion.
I don't think mass housing has even taken a position on this yet. They've just asked the town for comments. So
Right.
it seems to me that the town should respond, and pretty much along the lines that you're suggesting, and lay out the history. That, you know, we've been through this 5-year process for all these reasons. Here's the decision, and now we find we have the same exact application, and then lay out, the other concerns that you have, that we have, like traffic and the number of potential lots and so forth. And the road that this is going to intersect with, this Marion Way, the section of Daniels Road, is terrible. It's just awful. I'm very concerned about that, about site distances and, people waiting to go in, to exit into Marion Way.
Right.
Cars coming along that corner in icy conditions. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea. And I read somewhere there's potential for 60 houses on that road when they develop that back land. So this is this could be a very sizable subdivision.
Right.
It is now, but it could be
Right,
much
and-
worse.
And the thing of it is he's cramming in these 20 buildings. There's no room they're all 3-bedroom homes, 2 to 3-bedroom homes. Some of them have garages with a bedroom overhead. The old project didn't have any garages, and there were no bedrooms over a garage. So this is an extension of even more density, more people in this narrow area. And he's gonna, once he gets that road through there, he's gonna try to to develop the backland and put another 60 to 80 houses in there, and this is going to be the gateway through it. And I wouldn't want to live there.
No.
Yep.
In our conversations and reviewing this proposal, I think, Dave, to your point, it's my understanding that procedurally, Mass Housing has to issue, which is what part of this process is about, is a letter of eligibility, which actually codifies fundamentally that a developer is able to move forward with proposing to any town a 40B development because of the constraints under which a 40B development has to be done. So they basically have to say, look, this is what we want to do, it's affordable housing, etc. Mass Housing then issues a letter of eligibility in which they have a 2-year window in which to actually execute that plan. They may or may not choose to do that in that 2-year window. I can't conceive of why anyone would engage that process without wanting to go forward with it. If this is a procedure that just has to be done, regardless of what we say to you and your assessment of all of the board's opinions, that gets sent then back up to Mass Housing can still choose to say, we like the idea of 40Bs. So we're gonna, and you're certainly a capable developer, we're gonna issue a letter which gives you an option to go ahead and propose a 40B. Now, they may do a 40B in some other town. I don't believe it's an eligibility just for a specific geographical location. It's a generic eligibility in the state. However, if the plan that is now in front of you and in front of us goes through this process and comes back to the board with no new information, the decision that we have that is barely 8 months old, there's no basis to have any other conclusion. And the board doesn't see any way that it could conclude anything but what we already did, which is to deny the project as proposed. The board would love to entertain a 40B proposal that made sense. Cliff makes a good point. It's a dangerous intersection. We were apprehensive about the amount of traffic just given the 10 duplexes, let alone future access at some other point. We were predisposed to other types of configurations that were more along the line of utilizing single-family residential lots as opposed to a duplex situation. Totally different type of development. But I don't think, it's just a shame that we all have to engage in the time to think about this. In my mind, when we have a standing decision that indicates, unless there's anything different, why would we reach any other conclusion? And I would speak for myself and say that I can't imagine if the board is presented with this same document, whether it's in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, that we could reach any other conclusion than we already have. It's just that there's no other basis to conclude anything else.
See, if they had appealed the decision, chances are Mass Housing would have had us go into negotiation, which would have given us the opportunity to downgrade the project or to come up with a better solution than, and that may be why they didn't appeal it, because they didn't want to negotiate. They didn't want to negotiate during the whole process.
Wow. Okay, so is there any further discussion from the board? I think we need to just,
I would recommend, Mr. Chairman, that we endorse the letter. I don't think I could say it any better than what Mr. Thurston.
no, I think you're absolutely right.
We endorse that letter, and we endorse the, we'll include the comments from the other boards,
Other departments.
and other departments, and
Send it off.
support the ZBA in this decision too.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
You did a nice job in that. That was
Thank you.
very well written and very well explained, very plain and simple.
Thank you,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Time being 7:45. We have an appointment with Robert Pomeroy Esquire, President of Badge Quest, Inc., to discuss police chief recruitment process. And just as a reminder, this meeting is being audio and video recorded digitally.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Bob Pomeroy,
Hi, Bob.
and I'm the president of Badge Quest. We've been in business since 2001. Personally, I've worked with the company for about 8 years and took over management full-time 2 years ago because my friend and original owner wanted more time for fishing.
Ah, there you go.
So we've done about 165 or so promotional processes, primarily in Massachusetts, but we've done an extensive amount of work in Connecticut. We've also done work in Maine. We've done over 40 police chief searches and promotional processes. Actually, I'm staying up here tonight. We have a chief's assessment center to do tomorrow in Newburyport.
Oh, very good.
So if I could just tell you a little bit about the process that we go through.
Sure.
I've already been working with Ms. Egan and been gathering a number of documents about the police department. We'll get things such as the job description, organizational charts, budget, staffing tables, crime statistics. We already have that. So we'll learn as much about the department as we can. And we'll also work with the interim chief, Jim Mulligan, who we provided for you, and I think you'll find him extremely capable. He did a fantastic job for us in a similar situation in Rockport. And it's nice to be able to have that inside information. And what's nice about that too is that even though his role is as an interim chief, he'll really be able to identify whatever he thinks are some, let's say, a project plan going forward for the department and give some real insight to the next chief. So what we do is we gather all that information, and that forms the basis for really a job analysis of the position. Because what we want to identify are the knowledge, skills, abilities, personal characteristics that really are what you're looking for in a chief. A fit for Framingham may not be a fit for Rowley.
Right.
So we want to tailor the person to the community. So we've already put together the foundation. We've advertised. It went nationally, advertised on Thursday. We've already had 4 applications. We have because we do this so often, we have quite a pool of people who, when they're looking for positions, we might have seen them in other communities where they've applied. Maybe they came in second or something like that. And, if we think that, we've seen them once already and we're happy with them, we'd say, hey, here's a community that may be the right fit for you. Besides already having the 4 applications, I've already talked to a number of others that are planning to apply. I've already got some information. So Deborah put together a timetable, an aggressive timetable, and we will stick with it the best we can. So the application has been posted, as I said. We're receiving the applications, and what we do is we go through those on a weekly basis, so we don't wait till the end. So as soon as those come in, I'll meet with the committee, and what we'll do is what we call a first cut. And the goal is to, we may have 50, 60 applications. That would be generally what we're looking for. And if you take a look at the ad that we posted, it's pretty narrowly defined, the things that we're looking for. And if you don't narrowly define the things that you're looking for, I could say to you, I could promise you 100 applications, but you're going to end up discarding 60 immediately.
Exactly.
So we want to tailor it really to what you need for the community. So out of those 40 or so, 40 or 50, would take a look at all those applications and cover letters with the committee and pare that down to maybe a dozen or so. And those are what we call the Step 2 candidates. And once we've identified those folks, we'll send them out a list of narrative questions, and I'll work with the committee to determine what those narrative questions are. But it usually requires about a 3 or 4 page response to a number of questions that would be pertinent to this community. and would also ask them to fill out an employment application for the town at the same time. And that they have about a week and a half or so to do that, to get that back to us. Typically what you'll find is that we'll lose about 10 to 15% of those folks. There's a number of people that will just submit an application to see how far they can get in the process, and then they'll withdraw. So we'll take a look at those. We'll take a look at the finalists, what we think should be finalists, and then we'll start really delving into their background a little bit. It's not a complete background investigation, but quite frankly, I know a lot about a lot of the applicants already, and the ones that I don't, we'll find out. There's not too many communities we haven't worked in, and for folks or contacts that we don't have, which is really the advantage that you have with a recruiter such as us. That we've worked in every town in the state just about, and we have an extensive network. So my background personally is I'm a retired police chief. I was the police chief in Plymouth for 16 years, spent 34 years there. After I retired, I was the interim chief in Hamilton. I was the interim chief in Sandwich. I'm an FBI National Academy grad. I'm an attorney. And so I really enjoy doing this. And the staff that we have, they're really dedicated to making sure that we want the right people to get the top jobs in the profession. So we really look forward to working with you.
Oh, very good. So any questions?
You answered it all for me.
He did. He answered it all.
Okay, great.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
if tonight we could discuss with Mr. Pomeroy. He's prepared a draft citizen survey, and he's already given me the police department employee survey. I got that, and I sent it to Chief Mulligan today, and
Okay.
he's gotten it out to all the police department employees. Will have an opportunity to complete the comprehensive survey for the police department employees. He's also prepared the citizen survey, if you'd like to look in your packets.
Oh, very
He's put
good.
that together, and maybe while he's here, we can talk about if that's something the Board of Selectmen would like to do, and if so, how would you like to do that? There's different ways of doing it, either a Survey Monkey electronically, or we can have these forms available at different places like the library or the senior center, and get it on the website, and have those mailed directly to him. As he's gonna be collecting the surveys for the police department, he would also collect the citizens.
And if you take a look at the survey you've seen it, that I did for the police department, actually, we used a very similar survey when we do management studies. It really gives us a real detailed look at the opinions from those in the department. And that would be all the employees, from the custodian to the dispatchers, reserve officers, full-time, everyone, and they're confidential. So they come to me, and I'd certainly report the gist of the comments to you, but we assure anyone who fills out those comments that they're confidential.
Exactly, anonymous, yeah.
Yep. And as far as the general citizen survey, it's great to be able to, a lot of folks watch this on cable TV, and just to make these forms, usually they're at town hall, the senior center, libraries, and just ask folks if they'd like to fill them out, to do so and to submit them.
Sure. Sounds like a great idea.
Should there be a general question to people in town of how do you feel about the effectiveness of the police department in Raleigh? I mean, it doesn't seem like you have that kind of question.
No, because we would do that if we were doing a management study. This is moving forward, not looking backwards. So we're looking for things that folks are looking for in a new chief coming in. Some things the qualities that they're looking for. What may be important to one community is not necessarily important to another. So we leave it really open-ended. The survey that we designed for the offices is much more narrowly tailored with a tremendous amount of specifics.
Okay.
What's the best survey form, on the web or a paper survey?
Yeah, we collect.
Survey Monkey or whatever.
We will collect the paper surveys. Some communities, have someone that'll say, "I'll do a Survey Monkey and put it out there." Some communities, I don't know if yours does, has a Facebook page or whatever where you could advertise it. I don't have Facebook. I don't do Facebook, but some people find that very entertaining.
What is Survey Monkey?
I don't know either.
It's a free web-based service where you can design your own survey, and people can. You give them a website address, and they go in and they log in, and they can select.
I'm a Rotarian. We used it in Rotary. how do you like breakfast? Would you want to
Yes.
have breakfast?
Yeah.
You know,
Very
would you prefer-
open-ended.
Would you prefer a lunch or something like that? And that's how we used it. So, it you know, it gets to the gist of the problem. And, you know,
Mhm.
yeah, we like breakfast.
Maybe we could post it on the website,
Well, we can certainly put the forms in
and then
downloadable format
have them
on the
available at a
website.
number of locations and get the
Um,
word out. That seems to
They
be,
can
Yep.
be either emailed into Mr. Pomeroy at BadgeQuest, or they can be just mailed, and,
kind of a time frame are we looking?
if, he-
at?
I would
For the
defer
return
to,
of
Last
these.
couple of pages, you got a time list there.
No, but I mean,
Well,
of
the
the surveys
survey-
back.
Yeah, the end of the end
Yeah.
of January.
End of
January
Yes,
28th.
the survey, so
Because we'd
it's-
like to have that back before the application period closes.
Okay.
Yep. And there's gonna be, community to community, sometimes we get a half a dozen responses, sometimes we get 150. And same thing with police departments. Sometimes we'll get only a few responses from police departments, other times every employee will fill out a form.
Very good. Does give them a chance to, you know,
Absolutely.
give their opinion, which is a
Yes.
good thing.
And it also helps us look at what things are good, that are working, and some areas that may need
Yeah,
improvement.
maybe a little
It really
tweaking.
gives a little roadmap.
Yep, yep. Very good.
Well, it sounds like, I think we made a good decision.
I think we did,
Selecting a company to do this to begin with, because it's certainly an expertise that none of us really have.
Well,
It
you know-
sounds like you're very well qualified, and we're happy to have you on board.
Well, I can
Help
say,
us out with this.
thank you. I can say this, there's a lot of communities that have very well-meaning, astute individuals that want to do their own search. When you really think about it, this is a multi-million-dollar decision. You wouldn't buy a multi-million-dollar computer without having someone who's an expert come in and do that for you. So I think the fee will be well worth it.
I have to agree.
And I think what
I
you
really
see,
do.
you see what's going on with police departments nationwide these days, both large and small. It's a decision that's really critical to both our police officers and the citizens of Raleigh, as well as us.
It's
as
the highest
community leaders,
liability
so, yeah,
department that you have in the
absolutely,
town.
so. We're looking forward to working with you, I think, and
Terrific.
come out with a great solution, and I know so far we're very happy with Jim.
Yes, he's a great guy.
Yeah, I saw him this morning, and he's doing some great things already, and
Mhm.
he seems to be full of vim and vigor and raring to go, and he seems, you know, I'm impressed, I really am.
Excellent,
So-
excellent. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
so, Mr. Chairman, just to recap here, is the board happy with the template that's provided by Mr. Pomeroy?
Yes.
And so, if
I'm only
the-
one member at this point, but I'm certainly,
I'll give you a motion to approve the distribution of the citizen survey, to put it on the town website, as well as various locations in the community, and also the police department, police officer survey,
Okay.
as written.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Have a good night.
That was easy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming in. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Nice meeting. Thank you.
So, Mr. Pomeroy, I'll wait for you then to put this on your letterhead
Yes.
and just email it back to me?
Yep.
Great. Thank you so
Wednesday.
much. Perfect, yes.
Good luck tomorrow at Newburyport.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so that takes us down to, if I am right here, old business?
Yes.
Does everybody agree to that?
Yep.
Okay, let me try to get a little bit better organized here, so I don't lose some of this stuff. Okay, old business number 1, signed February 2nd, 2016, recall election warrant. I don't want to tip it over. Okay. We have the Town of Raleigh, Commonwealth of Massachusetts warrant for recall election February 2nd, 2016. Essex SS to enter of the constables of the Town of Raleigh, Massachusetts. Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town who are qualified to vote to cast their ballots at St. Mary's Church Hall, Main Street, Raleigh, Mass., on Tuesday, the 2nd day of February, from noon to 8 p.m. for the following purpose: to vote for or against the recall of Water Commissioner Timothy A. Toomey, and then, if the recall vote is in the affirmative, to vote for a candidate to fill the unexpired term ending May 9th, 2017, vacated by the recall. Recall vote for the recall and against the recall. So you have a choice of either yes for the recall or no for the recall, is basically what they're saying here. Candidates: 1 Water Commissioner, unexpired term. And you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting at the 7 places in the town as proposed by the law at least 7 days prior to the holding of such voting. Herefore fail not, and make return of this warrant with the other doings upon to the town clerk at the time and place of said voting. Given under our hands this 11th day of January 2016 by the Selectmen of the Town of Rowley.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We have a number of them to do, at least 7, it's probably more than that. That's it. That's it. Okay, I'll just run it through one more time to make sure I didn't miss something. Okay. Old business number 2, stable license application from Deborah Rose for 532 Weathersfield Street. Stable license application for Deborah Rose of 532 Weathersfield Street. The following application has been submitted and all is in order. With all taxes and water bills paid, Amy informed Deborah last week that there were 2 light bills outstanding totaling $145.02. Deborah said she would take care of them. The bills are still outstanding as of today.
I move we table this until the payment of the light bills.
Any comment?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to put it on hold until the debt is taken care of. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Old business number 3, update on Prospect Hill project. Okay. Debbie would like to update the board on this project. Do you want to read this, Debbie? Do you want me to read it by?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. As you know, last week, you and I attended the hearing with the Conservation Commission on the Notice of Intent application that I filed last week on behalf of the selectmen and our engineer, Rylan Nealon from Tater and Howard, who's the project engineer, attended and spoke on the town's behalf. They approved that. Today, the stormwater permit application was filed with the Conservation Commission. And as I understand, the hearing will be held on January 26th. The other important news is that Ryan Nealon, our engineer, had run the construction estimates, and it seems that we don't have the sufficient funds to cover actual construction costs. And partly it's due to the amount of gravel and other materials that have to be brought in the huge excavation that has to take place to make this road comply with the drainage requirements necessary for all the environmental regulations, most importantly the stormwater, and so that it doesn't wash out.
Right.
And right now it's in a terrible state, and really you're unable to get up it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at this point a shortfall of $77,000 that we would need to fund this. What I'm suggesting, of course, not knowing what the bids will come in at, we go out to bid, subject to appropriation. Obviously, we can't sign a contract without certification of appropriation.
Right.
And see what the lowest bid is that meets the qualifications, and seek town meeting
Approval.
funding
Yep.
for that balance. The schedule would require we would go out to bid at the May 2nd special town meeting. If we get the funding, we sign the contract, and the construction takes place this summer.
Okay. Sounds good.
We've also have a proposal in here from Tater and Howard if they like additional assistance during the bidding process. And in which case they would be providing engineering services for pre-bid meetings, questions. Any questions that we get, it's a very formal process under a bidding process where we receive them in writing, and we respond in writing to all bidders listed on file as having taken the bid documents. As you know, we don't have a DPW director, we don't have an engineer on staff. That would be my biggest concern, is any interpretation of the engineering plans and the specifications. I don't know how I would respond to those, but I just point that out to you. I'm not a civil engineer, and I didn't prepare these plans.
Okay.
You need a motion now to
Well, if you would like to-
support hiring Tater and Howard to do,
We could have them oversee the bidding process and pay that out of our existing appropriation.
I think that's a must, I would.
Yeah, it gets
Absolutely.
complicated. It really does.
I mean, I know what we went through doing with the bridges and stuff, and it's just so time-consuming and technical, and right now, we're backed up with so many other projects that need to be done, that,
Yeah, I think we need to do it right this
Yeah,
time.
no, absolutely.
When we first put the tank in, it didn't get done right, and that's
No.
why we're here today, working on this. So we need to get it done this time the right way.
so I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, to add the $4,400 for the services of Tater and Howard for the bidding process.
Okay, any discussion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded twice. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. So that takes us down to minutes. Package, yeah. Okay, review review and approve the following sets of minutes. May 18th.
Give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, for May 18th,
Let
2015.
me double check this, Bob, just to
Okay.
see. That's a June. That's June 1. June 1. Okay. Yep, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
May 18th, 2015. All those in favor, signify by
Well,
saying
just
aye.
second.
Well, you gotta give me a motion, I guess.
I give a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
You're all set, Dave?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Very good. Okay, the next one is
June 1st.
June 1st, 2015, and I do have a question on this one. Actually, on page 1. And the paragraph just above citizens' query. It's Chairman Murray said, "the Jack Demento." I think that should be that. Okay. And also on this one is 7, page 7, and it's the the third paragraph under Chairman Mary read the following. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences down on the right. It says a sewage treatment. And I think what it needs to say is a small lot on top if a sewage treatment. It should be a small lot on top of a sewage treatment plant. And then that same paragraph, the last sentence on the left, focus will be on needs. And I put a question mark there because I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say.
Said it sounded like they can start. It reads as printed here. Pierce said it sounded like they can start work tomorrow as they outline their process, and the focus will be on the needs so that the project is not overbuilt. So
The word
should be deleted. It's a quote attributed to Mr. Pierce.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's your,
I'll give you a motion with those two changes.
okay.
Or three.
It's a Scrivener's error, so we
Yeah.
can
Yes, yeah, and you know me.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. And the June 15th,
Give me a motion, Mr. Chairman.
2015.
What's this?
I'm all set with that one.
Okay.
Motion made.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the last one is January 4th, 2016. And this one looks fine, too. So,
Give me a motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And that takes us down to announcements. Recall election, February 2nd, 2016, from noon to 8 p.m. at St. Mary's Hall. Last day to register to vote for the February 2nd, 2016 recall election is January 13th, 2016. Contact the town clerk's office at 948-2081 for more information on voter registration. The town has the following vacancies: Shellfish Commissioners, 2 seats; Fence Viewer, 3 positions; Wood Lumber and Bark Inspector; Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 seat; Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 2 seats; Historic Commission, Historic District Commission, 2 seats; Parks and Recreation Committee, 2 seats; and 1 Open Space Committee member, Open Space Committee is seeking 1 member. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectman's Office at 948-2372. Rowley Food Pantry is in need of donations. The food pantry is open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indicates approximate times. Okay.
Maybe a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
Second?
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.